I'm Dr. Rudi Newman, a historian and author working with Hertfordshire's Library Service, and in this series we'll be revealing some of the important, obscure and sometimes unusual stories to be found in Hertfordshire's history. Salisbury Hall in London Colney is a historic moated manor house. Built around 1668, it has many notable connections, from Charles II's mistress, Nell Gwynn, living in a cottage by its bridge, to being the residence of Jenny Spencer Churchill, mother of Prime Minister Winston Churchill, who was himself a regular visitor. But there are two former owners that give Salisbury Hall decidedly unusual claims to fame. In the 1930s, the property was acquired by Sir Nigel Gresley. Born in Edinburgh in 1876, Gresley began an engineering career with the railways, advancing rapidly, until in 1923 he was made Chief Mechanical Engineer of the newly created London and North Eastern Railway. Designing many important classes of locomotive, most famously the A3 Pacifics as embodied in the engine Flying Scotsman, in 1936 he was knighted by Edward VIII. Gresley was a keen ornithologist, and is known to have enjoyed encouraging the wild birds that used the moat at Salisbury Hall, many of which were ducks. When designing his streamlined A4 class, it is likely small coincidence that many were named after birds, and one, number 4468 Ballard, is popularly credited as having been named after the ducks of London Colney. In July 1938, Ballard undertook brake tests, but in reality this was an attempt at the rail land speed record. Although damaged in the attempt, Ballard made 126 miles an hour, becoming the fastest steam railway locomotive in the world, a record that remains to this day. In 1939, Gresley sold Salisbury Hall, in 1941 passing away at Watton Stone near Hertford. This next owner was to be the Hall's most important though, the de Havilland Aeronautical Company. World War II had just begun and the aircraft firm needed a secret development location, not against German intelligence, but secret from the British government, who they feared would shut down their experiment, a completely new type of bomber. They had already presented their idea to the government, but it had been turned down. Built in a new hangar disguised as a barn, a prototype was assembled using non-strategic material and labour. Unlike other bombers, this was built for speed, being made of laminated wood rather than metal, fitted with Merlin engines, and being without any heavy armament. The yellow-painted prototype, W4050, was completed in November 1940. Initial trials were remarkable, with a top speed of over 390 miles an hour, the fastest aircraft in the world at the time. The de Havilland Mosquito was born. With mass production at Hatfield and other locations authorised in 1941 after Dunkirk, the British government having previously ordered and cancelled construction, the so-dubbed Wooden Wonder became the first multi-purpose combat aircraft, gaining armament and being used as a bomber, fighter, reconnaissance, anti-shipping, intruder, pathfinder, V-1 Hunter and training plane. Mosquitoes undertook many raids, including Operation Jericho, the precision bombing of Amiens prison that inspired the 1966 film Mosquito Squadron, Operation Carthage, the destruction of Gestapo headquarters in Denmark, and most importantly, D-Day. Such was their ability that they even received praise from an unlikely source, Luftwaffe Commander Hermann Goering, who declared, "In 1940 I could at least fly as far as Glasgow in most of my aircraft, but not now. It makes me furious when I see the Mosquito. I turn green and yellow with envy. They have the geniuses and we have the nincompoops." The de Havilland Company left Salisbury Hall in 1947, the hall becoming derelict until purchased by Major Walter Goldsmith. He was contacted by Bill Baird from de Havilland, discovering the site's role in the Mosquito story, and that Baird had managed to save the original prototype. This returned to Salisbury Hall for display, soon joined by other planes, and the de Havilland Aircraft Museum opened in May 1959, Britain's first aviation museum. Salisbury Hall has had an eclectic history, and it's quite remarkable to think how this countryside retreat played a role in railway, aeronautical and museum history, and most importantly in contributing to the worldwide outcome of World War II. If you would like to know more, there is plenty available, and Hertfordshire libraries are a great place to start, with many online resources alongside material in your local library. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and thanks for listening.